5, 4, 3. It is. Yes, he does. I can't work her. Can't go to a Mexican restaurant and take a jacket. I can't have a salad for lunch. I can't put lotion on my hands. These are your things.
All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining me with what is a first, actually. This is the first time that I am recording live my everyday bourbon of the year. And I want to tell you that I wanted to do this at a retailer. And I want to thank Westport Whiskey and Wine in Louisville, Kentucky for hosting me tonight. And I actually have some friends and followers out here. Thank you all for coming. How about it for Westport Whiskey and Wine, guys? This is an incredible independent retailer in Louisville, Kentucky. I think they pick some of the best barrel picks in the country. Chris Zaborowski is the owner, and he's a long time, he's been in business for a long, long time, and he's great at what he does. And I told him, I had them look at the list, and the original list, we have a substitution tonight, okay? So these are the best everyday nominations that came from Bourbon Pursuit followers. As you know, I am one of 3 members on Bourbon Pursuit. And as I did last year, I had them nominate the best everyday bourbons. And the reason why is because they're very in touch consumer base around the country. So it's a good resource to tap into. And my qualifications for this year were they have to be in the majority of the states and under $40. And these are what they came back with. Old Granddad 114, Wild Turkey 101, Old Granddad Bottled and Bond, Evan Williams Single Barrel, Old Forester 100 Proof, formerly known as Signature, Elijah Craig Small Batch, Old Bardstown Estate 101 Proof, Early Times Bottled and Bond, Russell's Reserve 10-year-old Small Batch, an Eagle Rare 10-year-old. And because Eagle Rare 10-year-old was not available here at Westport Whiskey and Wine, we struck it and substituted it with Buffalo Trace. So Buffalo Trace takes the place of Eagle Rare 10-year-old. And moving on, another one that was nominated but was struck and replaced was Weller Antique. Weller Antique was replaced with Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, Four Roses Small Batch, Gentleman Jack, which you can hash out your arguments as whether or not that's a bourbon later, and good old-fashioned Maker's Mark. Now, you see that I have a lot of booze in front of me. Now, if you don't do, I don't encourage you to do this at home on a regular basis, but people who taste for a living, this is kind of this might be a little bit above average day, but I do spit. So on this, I will be spitting. I'll be making sure I swallow there toward the end to get, make sure I capture the finish. But when you look at tasting, if you taste for a living and you do it a lot, you get used to doing these large flights, and you just rinse your mouth out a little bit. San Francisco World Spirits Competition, where I'm a judge, I will actually taste anywhere from between 100 and like 300 in a day. So it is, and that'll be very different types of spirits. Another thing I want to point out is that you'll see a little money button down there at the bottom. Half of everything that you donate you provide there will go to benefit the USO. The other half will go to buy a new camera for this live streaming setup. So Jessica will stop yelling at me about the camera. So if you see that little thing down there at the bottom, Appreciate your support. Whatever you want to provide there will be going to the USO and to a new camera. Now, I do have a little. I want to tell you too that I'm going to be very focused on the tasting, and I'm not going to be paying as much attention as I normally do to the questions. So now I'll answer a few questions now if anybody has any questions that they want to ask. So it looks like we've got some comments about the list being a good list. I appreciate that. There was a lot of thought that went into this list. I wanted to make sure this was something that you could get, practically anywhere in the country. So in terms of like what I think will win tonight, well, as I have said before, you are only your palate is a product of yourself in that day. And so today has been an excellent day for me. It's a little rainy outside, and that rain and the change in the barometric pressure could have an impact on me. I also am very familiar with all of these bourbons, and I'll tell you that I picked the Early Times Bottled and Bond for the Bourbon Pursuit Bottled and Bond bourbon of the year. So this one already has a really good track record with me for a blind tasting. And another one, Old Granddad Bottled and Bond, did not have a good track record with me. I thought that was awful when I tasted it. And Four Roses Small Batch always does amazingly well with me anytime I taste it. Where's the JTS Bottled and Bond? That comes from Dwayne Sears. Actually, people will be surprised by this, is that JTS Bottled and Bond is not as easy to find outside of like the core region of bourbon. Like I recall being in some areas like New Hampshire and New York and even like state of Washington, and they didn't have it. So, and I would seek them. So, and that was also not one that was nominated by the Bourbon Pursuit fans. So we didn't have as many nominations on that as we did the rest. Okay. Ollie Gallahue, or Lawrence Gallahue, says it's lacking marzipan. So you might want to get the marzipan bell out, because when I find that beautiful flavor of marzipan, I like to call it out. So, all right. Do we have any other questions? Why, thank you, Paul Blackburn, for saying I look good. I have been working out, hitting the gym every day. So anyway, I think it's time to get to it. Again, I want to thank my host, Westport Whiskey and Wine. If you have not been here before, it's an incredible spot off of Westport Road, an amazing selection of bourbon, and you're supporting a great independent retailer in our market. So let's get to it. And you can see these are numbered or lettered here at the bottom, and in envelopes right here are the numbers. I have not seen these. In fact, when they started pouring, they kicked myself and a bunch of other people out, and they're very serious about that. And in the back, I think they've got brown paper bags of what they are. I did not see them put on that either. So there are three people who have been behind it, and I would take this time to thank my coworker, Jessica Ann. For everyone that's in here, you give Jessica Ann a big round of applause. I probably wouldn't show up half the time if it wasn't for her yelling at me to get somewhere on time. And she knows that's true. So, all right, here we go. We're going to start with A. I'm going to try to give you as many thoughts as I can, but I also have to take notes on this. This is going to be a little different than like my Pappy versus the Field, which was really kind of, I would say, more my effort to be entertaining, while also a competition and everything. And, I'm blind and trying to like nail that down. This to me is more of a serious tasting. So I'm going to be taking notes and doing my kind of, my thing as I go. I will explain as much as I can to you. But again, I will not be answering questions as we go. So A has a very lovely sweet nose. It's kind of got like a cornbread too. Like, so you pull out you open the oven after making some cornbread, and boom, you got that smell, that cast iron skillet. That cornbread note shines through in the palate as well. Got a little honey drizzle there. This is showing very nicely. I'm thinking this is going to be a contender. I'll probably come back to this later, but I'm definitely giving that some high marks. Going to be woo-wee. Little marshmallow up in there. Some roasted nuts. Dare I say chocolate? I like this. Right on the edge there, a big old nice nut of like chocolate over coconut. That coconut you get out of a package versus fresh. You know, it's got that powdered sugar on there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, that powdered sugar stuff. Yeah, she gets it. Yeah, that one's really nice. And I got to tell you, right off the bat, A and B are really standing out to me. So I'm wondering if I've been like really thinking about this competition all day, this tasting. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, did I get myself in a mood where I just really want to taste whiskey? Because I haven't tasted any whiskey all day. And if C is the bomb dillium like the other two, then I'm going to know that I'm going to have a problem discerning things later on down the road because my palate is really liking everything right now. Fortunately, C is that nose is it's a little alcohol forward, so that makes me at least feel better about my state of mind and my nose and palate, because I didn't get any like alcohol forwardness in this, and this one it's kind of standing out to me. It's not a rubbing alcohol or a toe polished alcohol or even an ethanol. It's just kind of like you go into a still room and it's like fresh new make coming off that still. It's just a very particular note. On the tip of the palate, it's hitting it pretty sweet. And then there's a little layer of oak coming back through. I think this is one my buddy Kenny would really like from Bourbon Pursuit. He likes the oak. And so I am not marking it as high as the first two, but I do find it to be quite enticing. And I may come back to it and have a different thought. Okay, D's like I just walked up into a barn. I mean, it's like bed and straw. A little bit of manure up in there too. Whew. That's a very pungent nose. Now, there's an actual tasting note that some people look for in Scotch called goat shit. You don't find it a lot in American whiskey, but underneath all that, there's a big old hunk of banana. So, barn smells, banana, and then there's like more banana going on with it. There's a little kind of a cream, and then there's like a little cream puff. I have to scoot over here and allow some of these comments that You guys got to work on the cuss words here. If you cuss, I get like flagged and I have to like press a button or something. But so this one is D's not going to be a contender for me. But if you're in the mood for that kind of real earthy aromatic property with a mouthful of bananas, boom. Okay. Go to E. This is pencil shavings. Robitussin. Burning electric wires. I'm serious. Have you ever smelled, you ever smelled the electric wires burning? I mean, let's hope we don't smell that in here other than in the whiskey. It'd be very bad to like burn down in this whole damn thing. Okay. So, well, it definitely did not win me on the nose test. That whiskey actually didn't taste bad. It had a very velvety feel to it. It had the way it felt on the palate was very smooth. I hate using that word, but it's a good way to put it. But it didn't have a lot of notes. So this is one where E's one where you're going to be like, you know what? You're going tailgating. You want to bring a bourbon, to mix in a punch or whatever. Ease your bourbon. But I don't see it making it past round one. So now let's go to F. Sometimes a question will catch my eye, and Peter Lynn says, have you guys ever smelled the new iPhone? I have not smelled the new iPhone. I feel like I'm letting you all down by not doing my proper smelling research. Okay, so F is F reminds me. I grew up around horses. F reminds me of sweet feed. So you like get a bag of sweet feed that is oats and molasses, and you open it up, and boom, all that wonderful aromatic property just kind of bust up into your nose, and then a horse is come and eat it. So, growing up around horses, the next thing when I smell sweet feed, the next thing I'm thinking, am I about to get bit? Am I about to get kicked? Horses, when they kick you, it hurts like shit. Anyone out here ever been kicked by a horse? Yeah, it hurts, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't feel good. I mean, nobody wants to get kicked by the horse. Yeah, cows do hurt, but you end up eating them, so you win at the end of the day. What's interesting about this is that F reminds me a whole lot of A. Got a lot of those cornbread notes in there. So I think it's if you're in the state of mind to have a cornbread with a little drip of butter, F is where it's at for that. I like F a lot for that category. I want to rinse out a little bit here. I'll look down here to see if I can catch a question that hits my eye. Someone's bringing up the YouTube stuff about the free speech and what have you. Look, man, go to the Google and look at all the stuff that's going on. You've got content creators who are scared to death of like losing everything on YouTube right now. For me, I'm just having fun. I don't really care. They could shut me down and, whatever. I'll be drinking in a bar somewhere else. I always look at it like this. Worst thing that anyone could ever do to me, has already happened. So what are they going to do? Send me to Iraq? All right, so here we go. In case you didn't know, I went to Iraq, so that was not a beautiful country. All right, so G is definitely not. G reminds me of like a beer, kind of like an IPA. It's got some hoppiness to it. A big old thick hoppy beer. Then some corn on the cob. A little like pepper, like a hatch chili. I like this. I like this one a lot. So I'm a big fan of like New Mexican food. They have a very unique way of cooking with their chilies. This reminds me of some of those styles. Real lovely. I just want to remind everyone too that what I'm tasting today, what I pick today, can be very different from what I pick and taste tomorrow. We're a product of our environment and everything of when we're tasting, and what I'm in the mood for now or what I like now is going to be different than later. And you might say like, well, you're going to have an idea. I mean, yeah, I do have an idea of what things are, but even still, if you focus on what something is versus tasting it, you could really mess up. And you spend more time trying to figure out if this is Buffalo Trace or Maker's Mark or Old Granddad, and you're not actually assessing the bottle for what it is. So now let's go to H. H-bomb. Here we go. Oh. Uh-oh. Warm up to it. Get the drum roll for me. Marzipan. We have our first marzipan. Ladies and gentlemen. H, which H is not in the word marzipan, but today it's packing the heat. Getting all up in there. Andrew, you know what I'm talking about. You get that good smell that you really like and you're looking for, and boom. Oh, H is just, it's making love to my tongue right now. Oh my God. It's like layered all over, dripping down, tickling the roof of my palate. You sure you all didn't sneak something in here like that wasn't an everyday bourbon? Yeah, maybe you did. No sneaking? H is motherfucking good, boys. Okay, yeah, cut back on the cussing. Yeah, sorry about that.
That was French.
That was French for Mouge marzipan. That's what I said. So suck it, YouTube. All right, here we go to I. I just broke something, so I just broke something, and now I shall drink I. Okay. Man, I tell you what, I feel bad for I coming in after H, that beautiful, luscious marzipan note in there. But I in itself is quite fantastic. So I is very malty for me. I quite like it. It's got a nutmeg note in there. And like some grapefruit with like a hint of apricot. Apricot's one of those notes that you don't really see a lot of, but it's quite fantastic when you do. All right, there's a ruckus going on out here in the crowd. Are you guys snorting coke or what? So I is definitely a contender. Now we go to J. J's very oak forward, kind of like a raw Coke, and not a raw Coke, raw oak. You guys got me talking about cocaine, and I can't, you know. Back off, Andrea. No more cocaine talk. But it's very oak forward, and I'm talking about like the, I'm talking about the, I don't know, what do you say, the raw stuff? Like you cut the board, you smell the wood chips, boom. That's what we got here. But at the end of the day, after this competition, as I've been tasting, Jay's not going to be able to stand up, so I just know I'm going to probably eliminate that. So just too green for me, too ripe with oak notes, green and ripe. So it does not get a high mark for me. But you know, again, another one of those cocktail bourbons. Going to K. By the way, every time I see the letter K, I think of the gas station, Circle K. You don't really see Circle Ks anymore, you know? I mean, they're like gone. Do you guys have Circle Ks where you are? Yeah, so you deliver to Circle Ks. All right, I'm just driving the wrong damn routes. I'm a Speedway in Thornton's is what I see, and you know my favorite place to stop is the Casey's like gas station. I mean, those are nice. Okay, here we go. Kind of a mute nose, not really a lot going on. Maybe you could argue that there's like some roasted nuts in there and some vanilla, but it's not very prominent. Yeah, light, subtle, but it's got some cornbread notes, some honey, and then boom, it falls off. So like for my palate on this day, I is really kind of like in and out. It's like a real short whiskey, so that's not gonna bode well for it in this here competition. Now we go to K. Oh wait, that was K. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was K. Now we go to L. Just want to make sure we got the right L's and so forth. So K. L or Lima. This smells like a dustpan. Like floor sweepings, like you just swept up, you know, let's just say any random floor in the United States, real dusty. But you know, sometimes you want to smell that. Sometimes you like to smell dust. Like, hey, I'm in the mood to smell dust. What are you up to? And then after that, it's a little oaky and some spice. Can I delete somebody? We have somebody looking for escorts. And okay. Apparently, I apologize, but we have to block somebody on the chat who's being inappropriate. Well, next time I see this guy, I'll block him. I got to focus on the taste. So if you all can report whoever that is that's causing a muck, get him. So I know I said it. L had like this dustpan nose, and it does, but I don't want anyone to think that that's a bad thing. On the palate, it's like really rich with like chocolate and spice, like the spice you would get like in a Bloody Mary. So you know that spice. So there's like some savory there, and then there's some spice. It's really, really, really nice. I really like that. So L is a contender for me. Okay. Now we go to M. Thanks you all for saying that you would moderate and all that. I'm learning here. This is only like my 5th or 6th time doing this, so I now know going forward that I'm going to need a moderator. Don't know how to quite set that, but I will talk to my good friends at It's Bourbon. It's Bourbon Night, who will probably give me a tutorial on that sort of thing. Okay, so now we're going to M, but if you look that way, it looks like E, but because there's ridges, we know it's M. So here we come to M, which is a fine letter. You tend to like letters that have your name, you know, like Minnick, M. M's a cotton candy, a nose, like you're in the state fair and you're going by a cotton candy guy. And I really like this. And there's like cinnamon, some roasted almonds. Well, the palate's pretty fruity. You got some, and then some like rye bread and honey. Yeah, interesting. Got some funk to it. M brought the funk. Who brought the funk? M brought the funk. All right, now we're going to N. This is the last one, Andrea, of the flight. So after this, I'm going to have to narrow it down. This is where it gets fun. I have to make some hard decisions. Yeah. Oh. N's saying, like, you're not going to cut me. I am not going away, N says. I've got me a nose. I'm really digging this nose. It's one of those noses I just kind of want to smell. It's kind of layered. It's got like a lot of honey-centric stuff, like even burnt honey, raw honey, like what's going on, honey, and like, you know, like some brown sugar. I mean, there's a lot of sweetness here. All right. All right, N has a lovely like corn nut note and some honey. And I'm going to keep. So now what I got to do, got to go through my notes here and narrow some things down. I'll take a couple questions. And I want everyone to remember to be subscribing as you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please do. Got a lot of exciting things ahead, including Best American Whiskey, which will be taking place next week, December 20th at 9 p.m. And the winner of this flight will go on to take on some juggernauts like William Lee Weller, Old Forester Birthday Bourbon, and there's also some kind of like underdogs in there, like Woodinville, who won my best non-Kentucky bourbon. And I've also got a category called Best Celebrity Whiskey. And let me tell you why I'm doing that is because there's a boatload of celebrities coming into whiskey. And we might as well like reward the ones who are doing it right. And so we don't need celebrities going over and making other vodkas. Let's encourage the good ones to come in to join the whiskey ranks. Last year's winner was Ezra, Old Ezra Cash Strength. It was not under $40, so it did not make the cut this year. Okay. So now I'm going to start. Jessica, take a look through any questions that you while I'm knocking these down, and let me know if there's any questions I really need to answer as I'm kind of like reassessing. So that means you all can ask some questions right now. Jessica's going to flag them for me. But don't ask anything, silly. What is marzipan? The question came out from the audience. What is marzipan? Marzipan is basically an almond paste, and it's very popular in Europe. They have different They have like they inject it in like chocolates and do other things, and it's when you taste it, you know it. Okay, so I think we're going to be eliminating D, E, K is eliminated. Now I want to see if we're going to eliminate. Oops. Don't yell at me. I didn't do it. A is definitely going to stay. A is a contender for the final round. What I'm doing here is I'm going to narrow it down to 5, and then I will rank those 5. And I will not rank the other ones because I'm not. All right, B. B's on the verge of maybe getting cut. The B just had like an overwhelming oak note in there I didn't like. I'm cutting C. C felt very imbalanced to me on the palate. So like there would be like a sweetness and then like an underlayer of like alcohol. Going to F. F, I noted, was cornbread bomb. F is a whiskey that you've got to be in the mood for. If you're in the mood for this kind of cornbread style, you'll definitely love it. I think the cornbread is overbalanced, and thus I am cutting F. I think it's overpowering, and it's not a developed cornbread. It's more of a like half-cooked cornbread. So not really digging that. G, I had a note of Hatch chili. I mean, G's got the funk. So G's going to stay, I think, for right now. But it's got some funk to it. It's got some it's fun. It's a fun whiskey if you're really in the mood for that, which I think I am right now. H is right now my leading contender. I's got that apricot note that I really like. I'm going to go ahead and cut I. I was a little too sharp on the back palate. Didn't have the depth I wanted to see. Now we go to J. I noted it was green, but I necessarily didn't mind that didn't mind that. Yeah, very green. J is. J has been cut. J did not have really. It may even be flawed. J may be flawed. That oak note is it may actually be bad. It's like kind of a sourish thing. It might have been bad fermentation. We got some weird stuff going on in the comment section there. Let's go to L. L's another one of those cornbread bombs, but it holds it together quite a bit better, a little bit more enhanced than the previous cornbread bombs that I've kicked out. And there's more than just the cornbread note. All right, I'm keeping in M. And in. After tasting those two, I'm going to cut L, although I am fond of L, whatever it may be. It's just that there are some beast up here. And these, I'm actually not going to narrow it down to 5. I'm going to keep it down to these 6. And I may need repours. If it's okay, if I could have if I could have my helpers do some repours for me. I need a repour on G. I'm okay there. I need a repour on B. A. I'm okay with these two. Yeah, when they come back, I'll repeat them. All right, so we'll do the. So we're going to be narrowing it down here to the finalists, and to make things a little easier on me, I'm actually going to consolidate these little planks. Now, these are for those at home who have not had these or have not seen these before. These are actually wood staves that have been cut and turned into like some kind of holder of sorts. Thank you, Jessica. How about it for Jessica, everybody? Woo! Oh, Brandon Junkers. That's not a good thing to say, Brandon. That guy is saying some really bad stuff there. Yeah.
Everybody reported.
Yeah. If you all see someone making a racist comment or anything, just report them. I can't really be focusing on that, but let's get them. No assholes allowed. Okay, so A is really, man, A. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I just love A. I love it. It is so friggin' good. I mean, that nose is just like, it's warming up to me. You know, I've said cornbread a lot here, but this is a cornbread that you pull right out of the oven. It's got a little honey butter dripping on it. And man, is it delivering. I'm in the swallowing round now, so I will be swallowing. Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah, A is so good. I love A. It is just, it's really, it's fascinating how much A has grown on me from the very beginning. It's like I was going and tasting other things. Are you violining me? Do I need to get a room with A? Is that what you're saying, Andrea? Because B might have something to say about that. Or no, G might have something to say about that. G's got the funk. G's got the funk. G's got the funk. I mean, they're polar opposite whiskeys. You have one that's saying like, hey, let me caress you and let's have a little bit of a buttery, drippy dance. And then you have another that's like, let's go party. Let's go jam. Let's rock it. So G's what I'm drinking when I'm going to go see Slipknot or Metallica. A's what I'm what I'm sipping when I'm going to watch I don't know, Andrea Bocelli or someone like that. Really, two very different styles. Both are fantastic. So A and G, I think are phenomenal. Let's go to B. Yeah, I got the order all bass backwards. B, after coming off of those two stallions, was really, really light, really just kind of meh to me now. And I'm very, very pleased with it. But A and G are so stellar. I know it's not even going to live anywhere up to those two. So I'm going to move it out of the framework of the tasting and go to H. Now H has got that it's got that sweet smell. You know what I'm saying? It's got that cotton candy smell. Mm-hmm. And some of those like State Fair like cinnamon nuts. Smoky and salty. But again, we're now in the phase where we're narrowing it down. And I know A and G are the two contenders here. H is not going to be one of those contenders. Lovely. Better than B, but definitely not better than these two. So now we have to look at M and N. I wonder if I could queue up some M and N while I do this taste. No. I think they'd ping me. YouTube would probably ping me on copyright for that. You don't want to hear me a cappella, sir. No. Actually, you've heard me sing. Can I sing?
Sing.
I don't want to sing some musical.
Sing a part of Marzipan if you will.
I did write a song called Marzipan.
Do a little excerpt and say
Sing a
where
song,
you
Marzipan.
No, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to sing my Marzipan song.
are. Marzipan.
I'm not ready. In time. No.
Give the people what they want. That's the give the people.
You're ready when you're ready.
That's right. You're ready when you're ready. Okay, so here we go. I am nosing this. And brown sugar loving right here.
Sugar love you. Sounds like a lounge in the city.
But M is not going to overtake A or G. Let's see what N is all about. I remember N being like the kind of the funk miser of the group that I like the most from the funk side. Oh yeah. Get up in there. Okay. M is eliminated. In which I need a report of. Thank you very much.
What do you need to report up?
In as in
No.
nachos. I mean, right? Do nachos not sound good?
Nacho sounds great.
I mean, who doesn't want nachos any day of the week? Hey, I want to remind you all that you see the little money button down there? You click on that and you can do like a donation thing. And half of it will go to the USO. And the other half will go to buy a new camera so Jessica will stop yelling at me. Oh, I have to click the button when they send me money? Okay, well, then I haven't gotten any money then. Yeah, I'm really new at this YouTube thing, but I'm just a whiskey guy. Okay, here we go. Final three. We got A, we got G, we got M. AGM. I mean, is that not a rap? That's a rap group, right? Right? AGM? No? Is that a rap? No? No one's gone for that.
Oh, we got some vowels.
All right, what do I got to do? I got to click it? I don't have to click it. It's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's there. I'm good. Good.
$5 no holla.
All right. So I'm going to get into the real focus mode right now. G and M have some similar characteristics, and A is the complete opposite. So the question is, what kind of mood am I in right now? Again, A is gentle. A is loving. A is dripping down my jawline, caressing me. A is the one you want to marry.
Winter of love.
G's the one you want to go, I mean, this is, you maybe have a little more fun. G's got some funk.
Oh, another $5 no holla.
Thank you for the $5 no holler. I like G a lot, but clearly A is going to be first or second in this, so I have to decide between M and G. I feel like M is a little bit more competitive, can maybe take it down to the wire with A. And G's just got like this. It's a mood whiskey. Like if I'm not in the mood for G, I sure in the shit don't want it. So I am putting G in third place, which I'll probably be drinking later because I'm in the mood for it right now. But I know tomorrow I most likely won't want that whiskey. But A is a very good representation to me of a whiskey I want to drink every single day. And I just go back to this cornbread with honey butter just dripping on down it. In might beat it. Uh-oh. I need a repour of A. This is a very difficult decision. I really, Chris Atkin says should be Eagle. Chris, Eagle Rare was disqualified. It is not in this contest because it was not available in this retail store. And my whole thing is like I wanted to make sure that these were available in retail.
$5 for drinking a spit can.
Wow.
You better increase those zeros, man.
I'll give you $20.
There is, we will not be bidding on whether or not I will be drinking the spit can.
I'll give you all the money in my wallet.
Okay, then. It was suggested in the audience that he would give me all the money in his wallet. And the answer is no. I will not be drinking the spit can under any circumstances unless we start with $1 million.
Okay, that's fair.
That man has on a
To the USL.
Okay, here we go with A. They're both very both they both have the same kind of different noses, but stylistically they feel very similar on my nose. And so, well, this one is skewing more toward like out of the oven cornbread, and this one is a little bit more, you know, kind of like just a touch funky, but with some sweetness to it. They're both there kind of on the nose for the same amount of time, and their notes on the palate are very, very similar in terms of where they hit. What I'm going to do now is basically I have considered these two equals in every step in different ways, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to count off how long it finishes on my palate. So when you see me doing this, that is me counting off my finish. So A has a 20-second finish for my palate. Let's go to N and see what N can do for the finish. And make sure you all are subscribing because there's going to be a whole lot of more of this coming in 2020. And N puttered out at 14 seconds. So A wins the crown of best everyday bourbon for my palate. So congratulations to A. Now what I'm going to do, we're going to like just find out what these were. So let's start with over here, L, which was one of the last to drop out. Yeah, I have the top 5. But we're going to go through the rest first, yeah? So L, which was one that had like a really good shot, was Old Granddad 114. So that came in like 7th place for me, right? That was like that was a pretty good fairing. J. What did I say about J? I think I was really low on J. Yeah, J was green as shit. So let's find out what J the green was. Now this will be interesting. Old Bardstown, 101 proof. Yeah, this one was pretty low on the list for me. So I did. I. Okay, my notes on I. Pretty minimal. You had some things I said about I. I know I did not fare well. That's Four Roses small batch, which I normally like. I did not like it in this tasting. This is a great example of like, this is why you blind taste. You know, taste. And because I normally really like I. By the way, did anyone else notice that's in Oklahoma State? You know, Glencairn? Go Pokes. I'm the only one who probably cares, but so let's go to F now. What was F? In my notes on F, basically this was in the kind of the cornbread hunt, and yeah, Maker's Mark. Fascinating to me because that is not a note I normally associate with Maker's Mark. But now that that's out of the running for me, let's take a look at some of the things that are still in. Old Forester, Evan Williams, Old Granddad, Bottle and Bond, all the Wild Turkey products are still in. Evan Williams, Bottle and Bond, Gentleman Jack, and Buffalo Trace. Let's go to C. C, I thought was really oak forward. This was one of the first ones that kind of came out for me. This was oaky. And it's Buffalo Trace. So Buffalo Trace did not fare well for me, even though that is one that I regularly sip at home. I love Buffalo Trace, and I do think it is. I'm not making the I'm throwing, but I'm not taking the garbage can at all. My apologies. So Buffalo Trace, that is a huge surprise to me. Let's go to K. K didn't really write much about it. I think I said a few things, but it got kind of like a haphazard, all right kind of arrow, which doesn't mean much. And that is the Old Forester 100 proof. All right. K. Oh, wait. That was K. I just said K, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So E. E, what were my notes on E? Also minimal notes, but I did find myself pretty thoughtful on it. Evan Williams single barrel. Evan Williams single barrel. And so B, which is the last of the basically the before we get into the finalists, let's see what it is. Elijah Craig small batch. And I actually was pretty high on this. This was one of the later cuts. Now, what do we have left in the running? Well, we have Wild Turkey 101 still in the running. Early Times Bottle and Bond. Russell's Reserve Small Batch. Evan Williams Bottle and Bond. And Gentleman Jack. Did I miss anything? All right, so let's see, like, what finished in 6th place? YB finished in 6th place. I don't have the B. Did I drop the B? Did I open B? I just opened B? So, okay, so Elijah Craig small batch was in 6th place. Yeah, okay, that's a little bit of a fuck up there. So Elijah Craig small batch was in 6th place. So H, we're going to 5th place. Early Times Bottled and Bond. H. Oh, yes. Thank you. Fourth place, we have M. What did I say about M? M was my marzipan. I was really into this. Wild Turkey 101 coming in 4th. Again, not a note I normally associate with marzipan. G, or not a brand I associate with it normally. G in 3rd place. Old Granddad Bottled and Bond, which this is a product that I was not high on in a previous blind tasting. But tonight, it was really good. So it's between Do I have this right? This is between Russell's Reserve 10-year-old and Gentleman Jack?
That is correct.
N is second place. Feeling like I opened the wrong envelope at some point. Maybe I shouldn't be opening envelopes anymore. In second place, Russell's Reserve 10-year-old. Okay, and in first place, A. Evan Williams, Bottled and Bond. There was a mistake.
D is Gentleman's Jack.
What's that?
D was Gentleman's
D was Gentleman's
Jack.
Jack.
As in dog.
Yeah, D was Gentleman's Jack. So, and D, I think what happened was that D looks like a B. So D is what came in seventh place for me. So, and so that was Gentleman Jack. So this year's Evan Williams Bottled and Bond wins my best everyday bourbon, and will now compete for best American whiskey of 2019. And I think it was this was really a incredible competition for me, because I really put a lot into thinking about these things, and Evan Williams Bottled and Bond is a fantastic whiskey. I'll take some questions here. Look at that. So Evan Williams Bottled and Bond, a sister product to like the Evan Williams of the world and Elijah Craig. Russell's Reserve 10-year-old, which is a fantastic whiskey. Pretty much everything coming out of Wild Turkey is great. Old Granddad Bottled and Bond, fantastic. Really a solid American whiskey. Wild Turkey 101, probably one of the more regular available products that are out there, and quite tasty from time to time. Of course, Early Times Bottled and Bond. One thing I want to point out, we have 3 Bottled and Bond products in here. 3. And that's pretty fantastic if you ask me. So, yeah, what a great time. Thank you all so much for joining me. Let's take a look if we have any questions here. Thoughts on preventing halting whiskey oxidizing using inert gases like you would with wine? Chris Meyer with the ultra geek question of the night. Basically, there's been some testing on that with using gases and Scotch especially, and it is fantastic. The question is, where am I again? I'm at Westport Whiskey and Wine. They were very gracious to host me. I wanted to make sure that we had all the products that we had were actually available at retail. And what better way to do that than to actually be at a retailer? And by doing that, we were able to eliminate something that was not available at retail. Evan Williams Black is your standard, so not surprising, right? That comes from Bourbon Lens. You know what? Evan Williams Black is kind of would be like my Jack Daniels, my Jim Beam is what I sip regularly for cocktails or whatever at the house, and who's to say? There are times I'm in the mood for Beam products. Here lately, I've been in the mood for a lot of turkey. And I got to tell you, this was not an easy one to pick. I mean, I couldn't go wrong with one or two, and with what came with one or two, and incredible. And I think all these products fared really, really well, and with the exception of and I was able to kind of like keep it all in line and everything with the exception of that slight mix up there with what Jack Daniels Gentleman Jack was. But even that fared very well being in the middle of the pack. We got a question in the audience here.
Is there anything that surprised you?
When I was open, well, the question is there anything that surprised me when I opened the envelopes? Yes. I was pretty well stunned to see that I loathed practically Four Roses small batch. I really like that on a regular basis, but maybe they're changing up. I don't know. Maybe I'm moving away from liking Four Roses. I don't know, but it was a huge shock to me because I normally am a big fan of Four Roses small batch. No Willet rye in your 2019 rise. Poor Q. Well, Nick, I appreciate that thought there. It's a matter of like, what have I tasted? I haven't tasted all the Willet ryes, but I certainly have some, quite a few. And the ones that I had chosen, to me, represented more of the style of rye I like. I do like a lot of the Willet ryes, and I look forward to them aging longer in the barrel. There's a particular Willet ryes have a particular oily note in there that this year to me kind of overpowered a lot of my palate. Yes, sir. We have a question back over here.
So I see 2 Wild Turkey products in the top 5. Do you think Wild Turkey is an underrated or underappreciated distillery nationally? Do you think it deserves more recognition?
The question is like, he sees 2 Wild Turkey products in my top 5. Do I think it deserves more credit nationally? I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know what deserving credit, means. To me, it's, I'm kind of like, I come from the Bill Parcells thought of you are what your record says you are. And Wild Turkey's been putting out great product for a very long time. And they really started pushing the envelope in the last, 10, 15 years. I'm a firm believer in Eddie Russell. Like, I think Eddie is a extremely talented distiller, and they all have very good palates there, and their whiskey's great. But are they underrated? I mean, I don't know about that. I think they're pretty well thought of, for sure. Best sub $15 bottles: JTS Brown or JW Dance bottled and bond. Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing, close to it. But I would say under $15. And if you see bottled and bond on something that's under $15, grab it and call your mama. All right. Jeff Brown asked, do you think people who don't like the heavy oak taste tend towards Scotch? That's a good question. Heavy oak is something that can turn people away from American whiskey, but Scotch is, a little lighter in some regards, but they're also smokier in others. So I think it all depends on like what you're into. As long as you're not drinking vodka, we're cool. Okay, I got time for like 1 or maybe 2 more questions, and I got to wrap up here. And I got the kids all to myself this weekend, so good times. Yes, sir, in the back.
I was just going to ask, do you feel like proof played a lot to your question? It seems like your close average is 95 to 100 proof.
I absolutely do think proof played a huge role with me tonight. To me, the sweet spot for American whiskey is 107 proof, and I love a lot of cask strength. I do. But sometimes cask strength can mask flaws. Like, it's so hot, you can't pick up a flaw in there. So that's why at the distilleries, they actually water it down to be about 40 proof. So they can just look for flaws versus flavors. But I think tonight I was definitely in a mood for that kind of 100 proof range, and I really think this is more indicative of what an everyday bourbon is. This is very indicative of an everyday bourbon. Evan Williams Bottle and Bond is definitely a strong one. Any other questions? Okay, so Pitman 20 asks, do you think that it's a coincidence that you pick Heaven Hill? I have I've been in a couple of competitions that have selected Heaven Hill as the winner, but then when it's my own thing, last year I picked Ezra Brooks for the everyday one, which was basically Heaven Hill liquid, and then for the best American whiskey, I picked Barrel Bourbon. So yeah, I mean Heaven Hill makes whiskey I like. They do. But I wouldn't say that I necessarily like favor them over Brown Foreman or Sazerac or anything. I'm just really like the other, like in the Bottle and Bond tasting, I picked I think McKenna like close to dead last. So it varies, and I actually do think that outside of their bottled and bond products, like their single barrels and stuff, I think Heaven Hill has a large degree of inconsistency. So like Evan Williams Bottle and Bond it's like a straight road, it's very on par. Yeah, I tried not to like think about what the whiskeys were tonight, but this is a lineup I would be proud of, to have at any bar for the best every day. So anyway, so the last question I'll answer here comes from Ghost Diver. How many of those top 5 do you personally own? All of them. Yeah. I have a lot of bourbon. And yes, I do buy it. So everybody, thank you all so much for your time. Thank you to the Westport Whiskey and Wine for hosting me. And let's remember that bourbon is about enjoying responsibly. So have fun with your friends, but don't drink and drive. And vodka sucks. Remember that. Vodka sucks. Cheers.